Hello, everyone. I am Professor Seaman. My full name is Jennifer Kozatka Seaman, known as Professor Seaman or Dr. Seaman. And I lead the historiography, historical methods Q&As, and also the Capstone Q&As in this program. So you will see me at the very beginning, likely somewhere in your beginning classes when you take historiography, historical methods, and then at the very end of the program, when you do your capstone. So I just wanted to introduce myself here in the orientation and tell you just a little bit about those classes and a little bit about my role in those classes. So first, to talk about historiography and historical methods. This particular class is different than other classes you'll take in the program in that we don't look at a specific part of American history like civil rights movement or women's suffrage or presidential history or something like that. You've got all these wonderful electives that you take in the program, but then you also take historiography, historical methods. And this class is basically kind of the nuts and bolts of doing professional academic history. That's what we look at. So historiography basically means the study of what historians have written about the past. So rather than looking at the past itself, primary source documents, this class looks at the secondary literature rather than the primary sources. That secondary literature broadly is called historiography. That is what historians have written about the past. So we take a close look at what that means, what it means to study historiography and why that's important to any class you'll take. And we also talk about historical methods, the methods that historians use as they research the past, as they look at primary sources and they analyze them and try to pull them together in some kind of coherent narrative and argument about the past. So it's a really interesting class. I think it's a fun class. I hope you do too, but that is a class that you'll take. And some of you might be in my section, but even if you're not in my section, there's several section professors that teach this class. But I, along with the lead scholar, Professor Robertson, do the Q&As for you. And in the Q&As, it's basically looking at the questions that you might have over content that comes up, but I also like to share some supplementary material to maybe clarify things even a little bit more as you're moving through that class. And then at the very end of the program, when you come to your very last class, the capstone, a class that's also quite different from other classes you'll take in the program, in that all that is required of this class is for you to produce a capstone, which is either a traditional thesis, around 50 pages to 100 pages of original research that is situated within the historiography. So the classes really work together. And that particular class is really driven by your own research, much more so than the other classes that you take. You could also do a project, which we'll talk about all these things once you do the capstone. So people sometimes choose to do the traditional thesis, but often they choose to do the project, which can be a website, it could be a primary source reader, and we'll have examples of what these might look like for you once you get there. So I look forward to meeting all of you at some point on your journey in the MA program at Gilder Lehrman Gettysburg, MA in American History.